Tell me what you had for breakfast. I'm going to do a little test.
I had, my standard breakfast that my husband makes for me. I had an omelet. Oh, and he's, we're going out of town, so he was taking the castings from the sourdough starter, and he makes that into little sesame pancakes.
How did you meet him? Because I need help. I'm doing something. Well, I eat at Taco Bell, so that probably...
She said, what?
How could they do something like that?
Are you serious?
What a thirsty MFer.
Not good. She's absolutely dead to me.
That's because she died.
I'm Sterling Mulberry.
And I'm Blair Payton. And welcome to
Bad Behavior, a morally questionable podcast.
We're two unqualified friends,
two unhinged comedians,
determined once and for all what is good
and what is bad.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for subscribing, downloading, following Bad Behavior. We are so happy to have you on the show this week. I am Blair Payton, as you heard in the opening credits, and beside me is, of course, Sterling Mulberry, and we're just ready to have a rockin' show for you guys.
Thank you so much, Blair. What an official intro. Okay, hello. How are you?
I am just fantabulous.
Really?
I'm all right.
Yeah, you're all right.
I don't want to oversell it. I'm doing all right. It's a little warm in the studio.
It's really hot in here.
My pits are sweaty. My deodorant is not working. And I'm a little hungry.
You're a little hungry. What did you do last night? Okay, well, can I tell you what I did?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. I went to dinner with my friend last night, and we went to this gorgeous Mexican restaurant. So I've been doing this thing with my friends where I ask them if they feel like love is in the air for me. Like, I kind of like to be
I like that it's not so much about, like, you're opening the questions, and it's not like, you know what, I'm seeing love. You're just like, what do you see for me?
Oh, not even see for me, but I'm like, do you think true love is on its way?
Mm-hmm.
And then she responded with this. She said, I think love is on its way. And I said, just the regular? And she was like, oh, I don't know about true.
Wow.
I know.
What a kick in the groin.
And I want to say this.
Okay.
In case the universe is listening, I'm not interested in just the regular.
How would you define true love?
Well, I've always said this. I think true love is going to be like, this is what I would love to happen. But okay, so as a kid, I kind of believe true love is like, okay, in The Parent Trap, when Lindsay Lohan meets herself as the twin, like they meet each other for the first time, and then they have electric currents going between their hands, and they're both like, when they meet each other. Yeah. I always, for the longest time, thought that's what it would be. Like, one time as a kid, like I had so many celebrity crushes, and I would meet them, and I would wait. I would go to shake their hands. This only happened with 2 celebrity crushes ever, but I would shoake their hands each time, and there was no electrical shock. And we weren't screaming, going like, and so then I was so devastated because I was like, okay, it's not true love. Like, there was no physical electricity going up my spine.
Was one of the celebrities, what's his face from We Are the Millers?
Yeah.
By the way, follow Sterling on TikTok. She has a crazy story about how you basically stalked, what's his name?
Will Poulter.
Yeah.
I really worry if I talk about it often, I'm going to get
a cease and desist?
A cease and, or stay away from me.
No, but I will say, look at sterling.km.
Blair's my publicist.
Yes, I am. Because the story is so insane. And it's been seen by
over a million people.
Over a million people. So I want to hear his side. What? Because I don't think
this is likely his side. Ready for this? This is my impression of my celebrity crush's encounter with me. I don't remember. I guess you would say it in a British accent, but
the fact that he's British blows my mind.
In what way, good or bad?
I just picture him from We Are the Millers. He's the son, if you're not familiar. Yeah. And I just picture him as that, just kind of. I mean, he's not. He looks great now, but I'm just whenever I hear him speak British, I'm like, that's incorrect. That doesn't match.
I mean, it's truly so devastating to actually go viral, semi-viral maybe.
Yeah.
And about a celebrity crush, and they don't reach out at all. I'm like, what else do I have to do?
But again, I
look like a psychopath, so I guess that is ultimately my fault.
I mean, I think that's to your detriment, but I want to hear his side of it.
Yeah.
Only because, to be in his shoes, like,
Yeah.
that would make me feel great to have someone who went above and beyond. And I'm telling you, Sterling went above and beyond
I did.
to have that Parent Trap spark with him.
I mean, I think, yes, I would love that for someone, but I don't want it obviously in any type of creepy way, right?
Well, no.
But like, yes, I think someone that like sees you and is like, that's it. Like, that's my person. And like, will like go to the ends of the world to meet you. But again, I think probably someone that would think that is ultimately a psychopath. I want to let everyone know we are not interested in dating psychopaths. We are only interested in true love. Actually, I've never asked you this. What is your love language?
That is a wonderful question. So I think mine is definitely acts of service or gift giving, but also that physical touch. Like if I'm into you, I want to be
rubbed down.
I want to rub our bodies together, just creating friction. I don't care where we're at. I want to make a mess by the end of it.
Oh God. That's a perfect segue because I think our guest might be here.
Speaking of a mess, let's welcome our guest.
Our guest, truly iconic, one of my absolute favorite comedians of all time. You know her as the amazing host of the podcast that was Ask Me Another,
R.I.P.
and her current podcast, which we absolutely love. We're not parents at all, but we're like, give us some knowledge.
Yeah, or give us a kid. Let's get this ball rolling.
Give us a kid. Check out her new podcast, Parenting is a Joke. Please welcome Ophira Eisenberg.
Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for doing the show.
Pleasure.
So right off the bat, just want to ask you, how do you approach bad behavior?
I'm big on resentment for years. That's good. But also, I think I do have I think I have a slow processing situation happening. My CPU is slow. But so, yeah, I feel like it's shocking. Usually when I witness bad behavior, I find it shocking. And I don't exactly know what to do in the moment.
Like of any, from like small to big, any magnitude?
I mean, big.
Okay.
But there is just like, I guess bad behavior I would put out. Let's just say in New York, you experience so many people being I'm impolite, let's say, for or very rude. And sometimes I want to step in.
Yeah.
But actually, as a woman, I think that has been taken from me.
Yeah.
Because then I fear for my life.
Yeah.
However, just recently, and I was like, that woman is hilarious. There was tourism is back in New York. I was on the subway, and this nice family, I'm just going to stereotype them because they were all smiley and stuff. They're probably from the Midwest. And they said to this woman beside me, "Are you from around here? Like, do you know New York?" And she just went, "What's your question?" And I was like, I love that you did that. Because now you gave them a story. There is some, but that is bad behavior. A guy didn't want to take me home in his cab the other night. It was 1 a.m. and it was cold and dark. And it's hard in New York right now because Ubers have taken over, and then Ubers are very, very expensive. And so cabs are more in demand, but there's less of them.
Yeah.
So they get picky. And so the guy said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "You are not, it's illegal to ask that question."
Who knew? I didn't know.
Wait, it's illegal?
Well, because it's illegal for me to, it's like technically no cab. It's illegal for a cab to not take you where you want to go.
Okay.
So if I was standing outside the cab, he rolled down his window and said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "It's illegal for you to ask me." And he goes, "Well, I'm not going to Brooklyn." And I said, "That's illegal." And then he just drove away. And I was like just shaking.
That actually happened to me. I didn't know it was illegal. He was like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "Upper East Side." And he just drove off. And I was like, "I feel like I should be in the car with you, sir."
So my husband, who grew up here, when I told him that, he was like, "Your mistake was you have to just get in the cab." Because he goes, technically, they he shouldn't have asked you that. But once you're in the cab.
Yeah.
It's against. And then he was like, "And then you could have called it in." I'm like, oh.
So there's a process.
There's a process.
So how long have you lived in New York?
Almost 20 years.
So you're officially a New Yorker.
Totally.
How does that feel? Let it set in. Marinate in that.
Oh, yeah. I think at that point, you're just like, how do I get out of here?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think you would ever leave New York?
Yeah.
Really?
Sure.
Where? What would be, I guess, a destination to
That's
go?
the problem.
Calgary?
No.
Going back home?
Definitely not. Although, I mean, I think now that everybody is living in a different place. Like, someone asked me recently, like, are there a lot of, if you were to do a show in Austin, do you know a bunch of other comics there? I was like, 50% of comics from New York and LA, I think, moved to Austin.
Really?
Yeah, a friend of mine who I did improv with. Don't be intimidated. He does comedy on the side, and he was just like, "I'm done with New York. I'm going to Austin."
Yeah,
and he loves it.
So many, and I feel like none of them have looked back.
He bought a cowboy hat. I have since unfollowed him.
He's gone.
I had to set a boundary.
And it's not like I'm talking, when I say Austin, obviously a cool city. It's not like we're talking about, like, can you believe all these people moved to, like, Cheyenne or something like that, like somewhere smaller and not with a thriving art scene.
Yeah.
So Austin is, like, a totally reasonable choice. But you do think when you live in New York, like, are you really... It is that thing where you go to, I don't know, I'm just thinking like Durham, North Carolina, totally great place. But then,
my friend Christy lives there.
Yeah, it's an amazing place and it's very affordable.
When I first moved to New York 6 years ago, she was like, I really hope you don't succeed there and you could come live with me. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
So there's still hope. There's still hope.
Yeah. I just find anytime I travel within America, there is that moment where we finish a show and it's 9 and we're like, so where do you want to go eat? And someone's like, well, I guess you can go by the 7-Eleven. You're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Because you just forget that place is closed.
Yeah.
The life of mini malls. I don't live in a world of mini malls. I grew up in a world of mini malls. That's where things were located.
Same. My whole town was just chain restaurants. And like even to this day, I get so much shame for this and it hurts. I love Olive Garden. I'll say it.
Yeah.
Proudly. I love Olive Garden.
I've never been. I guess I should go.
I've never been either.
Yeah.
Do you just guys want to take a break and go to Times Square and just get
Okay,
some?
let's do the Times Square
Yeah,
one.
let's go to the flagship.
Yeah.
Do you like salt?
Love salt.
You'll love Olive Garden. It is amazing. Actually, so my niece, she was here over the summer for law school, and she also has an affinity for Olive Garden. That's why she's my favorite. And so on her last day of her internship, she convinced everyone in the firm to go to Times Square Olive Garden.
And
they
had a blast.
They were like, what is this place?
You know what I can tell you? If I think about it, the Times Square is Olive Garden, and I know this about the Bubba Gump Shrimp, which is also very centrally located. Those properties, in terms of real estate, are some of the finest properties in Times Square. And your view of a tourist of Times Square is better than any 5-star restaurant that is around there, because I've looked into it. I'm like, New Year's, we should go to Bubba Gump Shrimp because the windows they have on Times Square are unlike anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow,
if you want to witness that.
I need to spend more time there.
Yeah.
You really do. Actually, for my birthday last year, we went to, because I was at home for my birthday, and we went to Olive Garden. My sister was the only one who wasn't happy.
When someone says something like, and my sister was the one that was the only one that wasn't happy, I'm like, is that your entire life with her? And then there was my sister who was not happy.
I mean, that could be a separate podcast. We don't have to get into that. Speaking of podcast, you have a new one.
I have a new podcast.
Yeah, so obviously you're a parent, but how did you kind of land on like that subject being
I mean, it wasn't
the next one.
It wasn't as narcissistic as you may although do what you know, etc. But I love storytelling, I love stand-up, I do both these worlds, and then I was in the audio world for so long. But what happened was, I became a parent at a later age. I spent most of my life just talking on and off stage about how I would never be a parent and I hate kids and that was the truth. That's how I felt. And then for a lot of different things changed very quickly. And I decided to try it, but it didn't look good because I was older and women just get all the, it's probably not going to happen for you. And maybe there's intervention. But, quite spontaneously and surprising, I did get pregnant. So then I was scared because obviously stand-up and traveling and doing a night job is terrible with small children. School does not start at 6. And if you go to a comedy show at 2, it's bad.
Yeah.
That is not a good show. But then I looked around and it was wild how many other stand-ups I knew who already had a career that were all of a sudden becoming parents. And I mean, I would almost say an explosion. All of a sudden I was like, you just had a kid. You're having. And I mean, in different ways, some were having kids because it was two people and someone got pregnant. Some were there was blended families. There was people doing fertility treatments. There was adoption. There was surrogacy. There was everything. But all of a sudden, I was like, everyone has had a kid. And I thought the material coming out of this is going to be totally different.
Yeah.
How old is your child now?
He just turned 7.
Just turned 7. So you're 7 years into the new gig. How are you feeling?
How are you feeling?
Is it?
Oh my God, it's a nightmare. No, it's great.
Waiting for mortgage rates to drop could be a costly mistake. Once rates drop, new home buyers will enter the market and prices will soar even higher. At Churchill Mortgage, you can get a free analysis and learn how to avoid the trap of waiting for interest rates to drop. Buy now and refi later at churchillmortgage.com. This is a paid advertisement. NMLS ID 1591. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org. Equal Housing Lender. 1749 Mallory Lane, Suite 100, Brentwood, Tennessee 37027.
There's a little bit of magic in photographs. With a click of a button, we can capture a moment in time and keep it forever. At Rockbrook Camera, let their creative team help you transform these precious memories into unique holiday gifts to last a lifetime. Most people know Rockbrook Camera for their large selection of camera gear and expert photo advice, but they're also the area's best high-quality photo lab. Choose from a variety of gifts to personalize, such as their popular photo ornaments, high-quality canvas wraps, and photo mugs. With so many gift options ready to be personalized, it's easy to share a story, a moment, or a memory that's made to delight friends, family, or even yourself. Send joy through the mailbox with Rockbrook Camera's thoughtfully designed photo greeting cards, ready to pick up in 48 hours or less. Start creating today with help from Rockbrook Camera's friendly staff in-store or online in the convenience of your home. Visit Rockbrook Camera today, 1 block south of 168th and West Center in Omaha, 70th and Pioneers in Lincoln, or online at rockbrookcamera.com.
So on our podcast, we like to play a game called Heaven or Hell. And this is a game on a scale of 1 being hell, 10 being heaven, where you kind of rank these behaviors.
Okay.
And because as we talked about, you're unofficially a New Yorker. I mean, I think, what's officially? 10 years is official?
I think right now it's a year and a half.
Really?
No.
Oh, well.
I think it's pretty light. I don't remember, right? There's been a lot of talk about this. Let's say 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
Yeah.
So we have some New York City kind of faux pas behaviors to ask you about to get your opinion on.
I love this.
Blair, do you want to kick us off?
I would love to. Thank you, Sterling.
Of course.
Our first one. Ordering a cinnamon raisin bagel with pumpkin cream cheese.
Disgusting. Get out.
Wow.
That's
That
more
was
like
so
a
intense.
1 on your scale.
1? What are you doing? How dare you?
Fun fact, Sterling actually did that. Judge.
I have.
Yeah, so you don't like bagels and you don't like cream cheese, okay?
No, I mean, my usual bagel now is definitely like an everything bagel, scallion cream cheese. That's like my go-to.
Fine.
But when I first moved to this city, look, I was working in corporate America. You got to take a bagel break just to like have a little sparkle in your eye still. And I would go to this place called Essa Bagel that's on the Midtown East. And I was like, pumpkin cream cheese, interesting. Gotta try the stuff. So I would do cinnamon raisin bagel. So yeah, I've ordered that.
I used to say I worked in corporate jobs for a while too, and I used to say I'm going to go get a bagel and then like do like 5 auditions and then come back like 4 hours later with like no bagel.
Yeah, and they're like that. You're like the bagel in so long.
Full disclosure, one time I called out of a work meeting because I had an audition, which I didn't get. And I was like, yeah, the pipe burst in my bathroom. And then they're like, oh, that's okay. You can do the meeting from home. And I was like, oh, fuck me. So I was like, oh, my camera's not working. I'll have to call. So meanwhile, I was, no joke, I was running to the audition, muting my phone. And then when I had to talk, I had to stop and be like, yeah, no, that's a really
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The things, the lies.
All right,
we
number
tell.
2. Okay, a friend not warning you that they live in a 6th floor apartment walk up.
You know, that's a 5. I lived in that's just
Standard.
that's just Earth.
Yeah.
It's not
But
heaven or hell. That's
you don't
just
think
Earth.
like a friend needs to give you a warning that
No, I used to live in a 5th floor walk up.
Yeah.
And I feel like, so I knew that, and I used to warn people because, it was so unexpected. And I feel like when they would show up, they would look at the stairs and just be mad.
Yeah.
So I would warn people because I was so free. And I felt bad. I just felt bad about everything.
Yeah.
So, and I remember I would get stupid questions. They'd be like, do you have to do this every day? And I'd be like, no, sometimes I stay in a hotel.
Yeah.
I live here. Yes, I do it every day.
I was that stupid person because you lived on.
I lived in a 5th floor walk up for my entire time here, so 6 years. And one, it gives you a great butt. I was always like, I'm going to lose my butt as soon as I leave this place.
It happened to me.
But then what I realized, kind of leaving, I was like, now I arrive home in a pleasant mood. Each time I would arrive home, I feel like, I don't know, I just am huffing.
Yes.
And then now I'm like, I just kind of drop my stuff and I just am fine.
You just walk in.
I still liked it because I feel like it gave me so much this is my day-to-day life. People would come and be like, how do you do this? I'm like, I don't even have laundry in my building. I walk down the street, back up my stairs,
same.
And so it made me really tough. But then I'm like, it's kind of nice being in a good mood when you come home.
So I lived in 3 apartments in a row for a few years each one, but they each 5th floor walk-ups.
Yeah.
I was like, I will never afford the 4th floor. One day. And I remember pulling up my luggage, coming home from some gig that I did extremely mediocre at, and I was lugging my luggage up that last floor.
Yeah.
And I just had a moment where I was like, my life will never be better than this. Those 5 flights would take you down.
Oh, they would take me down. And I only in my last apartment when I moved out did I hire movers. I fully would move out.
I did the same thing.
I mean, it was brutal, but I also, for my 5th floor, whatever, I always think nice, I would rather have no neighbors above me. You have a gorgeous view, that you kind of have some benefits.
You do.
But obviously the day to day. And if you ever leave something, you're like, I'm not going back. The amount of times umbrellas, I'm like, I'm wet. I'm not going up and down.
I know.
All right, our next one. Neighbor taking,
I did this one for you, Blair.
Thank you, because this happened to me.
That reaction was incredible.
Neighbor taking laundry out of dryer before it's done.
In your building.
Unacceptable. That's a hell.
That's a hell.
Don't touch my stuff.
They just put it on, and they were still in the room. And I don't like confrontation, but I did kind of
I mean, how long was it sitting there? That is a question, because then sometimes I come down and there's all 4 dryers.
A second.
Okay, a second is fine. Hours.
Blair was entering and she was scooping it out.
Oh, yeah, no. Unacceptable.
But I was like, what if it had been my undergarments? I mean, it was pillowcases, but still.
Oh, I've had people do it to my undergarments.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it too when you go down. I mean, I think the worst one is when you go, I say go down because I'm just talking about my building where it's in the basement. And it's been scooped out, but just, you don't know who did it. It's just left there.
Well, to get even.
Yeah. Ooh.
Well, I really wanted to get even, turn off the dryer, unplug it. But I was like, that's kind of karma. But even though they did scoop out my stuff. So I opened it. I took one sock out and put it on the ground and shut the door.
You're amazing. I put in a piece of moldy bread. No, I'm kidding.
All right. Okay. Number 4.
I love that you guys thought that was
we were like, genius.
Such a badass New Yorker.
I'm using that next time. All right. Okay. See, this one's controversial, but I have a weird opinion on it. Okay, across the street neighbor, always leaving their always leaving their curtains open, whether they're changing, whether they're doing anything around the house. And I'm talking pretty close window.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm going to give that a 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I like looking at people's lives.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a hot guy. I'll be
I agree.
Change slower,
that was my
sir.
favorite thing. I was like, I love just being able to peek into little lives. Not in a weird way, but just I don't know. It was kind of nice. On a block, you'd be like, oh, they came home.
And I think they are there. Right. I think they were like, hey, are you washing?
Yeah.
So yeah, I am. Yeah, I am.
Thumbs up. We like.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a 7.
I was hoping you would notice too.
Yeah.
Okay. This one's very prevalent considering what you did today. Seeing tourists trying to feed raccoons in Central Park.
Are there raccoons?
Yeah.
Are there? I don't think
I would always see tourists trying to feed raccoons, and I would always be like, no, not the they'd be doing kind of what they do sometimes with squirrels.
Raccoons, though.
Raccoons, yeah, and they'd be out during the day.
I mean, that I can't. the tourist is still alive?
Yeah.
I mean, right. I guess they probably threw it at the end at the raccoon because I feel like those are
the raccoons were like they were like literally
animals.
getting like to their mouths.
Disgusting. No. One. I mean, that's like feeding rats.
Yeah. No, not good. Okay.
I mean, pigeons too. Like I know, and people. I don't see that in New York so much, but I remember a long, long time ago going to Venice and people stand in the middle of St. Mark's and they have the pigeons like land all over them and they take photos. I'm like, that is the most disgusting thing.
I don't love that. Friend making you wait all day in line to see Shakespeare in the Park.
Like when they were still doing the line back in the day.
No. Don't care. Yeah. And then it's like, listen, then again, like, and then you end up seeing like Liev Schreiber and Macbeth, and you're like, well, okay. But I feel like when that happens, it's some, I don't know, Merry Wives of Windsor or like whatever. It's not a top 10. Yeah. It's not a top 10 Shakespeare. Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick break.
Great.
But coming up, we are so excited to hear your story and judge you. That's all we've been waiting on.
I live to be judged.
Woodhouse Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is bringing you more power, capability, and savings with the full lineup of new Ram trucks during the Black Friday sales event going on all month long. Lease a 2024 Ram 1500 Crew Cab Bighorn for $429 per month. Visit our 2 convenient Metro locations in Blair or Bellevue or online anytime. Lease for 42 months, 10,000 miles per year with approved credit. Tax, title, license extra. $2,500 down plus first payment and $299 doc fee due at signing. Example stock number BC230242. Offer expires 11/30/2023. See dealer for details.
All right, Ophira, we've asked you here, and I think you know why.
Yes, I do.
Do you have potentially a story that you need some insight? We're obviously experts. We've never done a bad thing in our lives.
We watch Oprah.
We've watched
Soul
Oprah.
Sessions,
yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
So whenever you're ready, if you want to launch into your story.
Okay, so I think this is okay. I don't know. So
as she's avoiding eye contact.
I think this is okay.
Okay, so I moved to America from Canada, and if you are an American listener, you maybe know this, maybe don't know it. It's not easy to move from any other country to another country. Yeah. And if you're a Canadian moving into America, yes, it's easy to get here, but you're not welcome to stay forever. Yeah. Nor do you have the ability to work. Mm. And so it was hard going. And I had to. I was illegal for a while. I was just plainly illegal here for a while because I couldn't figure it out. And I'm not from a trust fund family or whatever, so I really had no money. Mm-hmm. And then I figured out through a lawyer and this and that or whatever I got a work visa. Mm-hmm. I got a very limited work visa. But I was working a job, and that job helped me get a work visa. It was the year after 9/11. New York was a bit of a place of shambles.
Yeah.
And immigration and Homeland Security and all of that was not functioning great. Yeah. I don't even know if it's functioning better now. Whatever it was very weird. And so I couldn't get all the papers together, but I needed money, and the job I had would not pay me in cash. They were giving me checks, and I couldn't deposit them because I didn't have a bank account. And you can't get a bank account unless you have like proof that you are living and working here.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any of that. Just a little insight. I needed a phone.
Yeah.
And to get a phone, you need a social security number.
Whoa.
Really?
Yes, you do.
Okay, this may be a dumb question, but here it comes. Uh-oh. Do you not have a social security number in Canada?
Yeah, it's just different.
It's just different. Okay.
Yeah, it's called a social insurance number, and it's totally a different thing.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we're like, just think of like we're not even close in the world. Think of like Canada is floating an island.
Emotionally, I feel like we are.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but I did find like you can go to places in New York where they're just like, do you have some money? And they'll give you a phone.
They're like, we don't ask any questions.
There are ways around this.
Yeah.
But the bank was insurmountable.
Okay.
So I was like, I need a bank account. I got to figure this out. So I walked into a banking franchise, a well-known banking franchise in Lower Manhattan. And I looked around at someone working there that looked nice. I will say, like, I was like, who looks like They just want to also have a nice, easy day where there's a lot of yes ands.
Yeah.
Who's taken an improv class?
Oh, we have.
So, and I found that person and I basically said to them, I just lied.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I need a new bank account. They're like, great. And I was like, yeah, but I don't have all my papers together. I'm from Canada and I'm an NYU student. And none of my stuff has come through yet because there's a problem with the register. So I don't have my ID yet, but I'm in dorms and I don't have any money. So I'm working a job. Like I laid out this whole scenario.
I like it.
I have to pay my way through college. So I have a job and they've already paid me a check and I can't get the money and I need a bank account. And she was like, so do you have a social security number and all this? And at that point I did have a piece of paper that had a social. Let me tell you something. The stuff, I think it's a little bit different now, but the stuff, 15 years ago that you would get for these official documents, they were like literally Xerox copies. Like they were so unofficial looking.
Yeah.
We're like, are you kidding? My visa was a piece of paper that was stapled into my passport. And that was like,
that's it.
You're like, what are you, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Stapled. Okay. So, but I didn't have an ID and she just looked at it all, but I had my Canadian passport and I had a Canadian bank card, like just to show her like, I've had a bank account before. I don't know. And she said, yeah, we can do this for you. But will you come back with all of your stuff when you get it? Yeah. Do you know the timeline? I was like, 2 weeks, just making more shit up. And then she said, and good news, as an NYU student, you get a fee-free account. And I was like,
and that's why I chose the school.
Yeah, she was like, what are you studying? And I was like, anthropology. And she was like, how's that going? And I was like, really good. And then she said, what is your address? Because they were going to send me stuff. And I said,
oh, God.
One university.
Bold.
New York.
Bold. Love it.
And that was fine. Somehow that was just fine.
Okay.
And I got a bank account and I never went back to that bank, but I didn't have to because I had an ATM card. Yeah. So I just did everything through my ATM card, deposited checks, took out money, had fee free. And then a year later when they were like, hey, a year later, the only reason the bank got back in touch with me because you have to, this fee-free thing, they are very freaked out at that they even gave that to you at all. Right. So they want to know a year later. Yeah. And so I just walked in and closed my account.
Oh, I thought you were going to walk in with like an NYU sweater. I'm still schooling.
Yeah, exactly. Columbia. Yeah. I even take it up a notch. So I lied and I cheated for my own benefit and I took advantage of someone at a bank.
Okay.
For my own my brother-in-law is a very ethical person and he lives by it. He lives by his morals and ethics.
Okay.
And I told him a little bit of this at one point and he was horrified. He was like, that stuff's in place for certain people and you take advantage of it. And then the way that you wrapped yourself around their security measures, they're going to make more security measures to stop. You were really gaming the system in the wrong way for you. And that was a bad thing to do.
Okay, well, I have a little question for your brother-in-law.
Sure.
How would he have deposited those checks?
I know. I guess you can sign the back of it and then give it to someone else you don't want to do that. Yeah.
Good to know.
I'm learning. Maybe I'm not from America.
Nobody does a check anymore, so you don't even have to deal with it.
Well, I got sent a check from my insurance. I got a reimbursement, and I was like,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. now you just take a picture on your phone.
Yeah. Get the mobile app.
Yeah. I love technology.
Yeah, okay. Technology is really... So technology would have also completely prevented me from being able to do this.
Yeah.
So it was also too new. I was taking advantage of a pocket in time.
It's so hard because it's to be pro-bank. It's just of course, I say please take advantage. I'm like... I know. And also, I think this is my other issue with your brother-in-law. They didn't catch you. So it's not like they had to then put things in place after you to be like, we gotta make sure, it sounds like they never even knew.
It was the most innocent version of stealing, I guess.
And also, it was your own money, ultimately.
It was my own
So
money.
I don't think it was technically stolen.
It was just like you didn't have to pay a bank fee.
Which shouldn't exist anyway. Should we, like, bank fees? Come on, that's garbage.
No. They're
That's
just
like
storing your money.
Like, also, it's like that's the same thing as like paying for luggage on a flight. Garbage.
Yeah, garbage.
Made up,
Yeah.
based on nothing. Wi-Fi should be free, okay? Based on nothing.
I do have a question, though, because as someone who, I love the idea of lying. And I do like little fibs that are like harmless.
Okay.
But like big stuff like that really affects my colon. How were you during that whole year knowing that
were you scared people were going to come after you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like I had lied so many times at that point.
You were like, catch me if you can.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not, I mean, there was so many times that I had to lie trying to figure out how to live here. I mean, even to what it's like trying to get into comedy. I remember they were like, you have to have 5 friends in order to perform. Like when you're starting out trying to get your footing here. Yeah. And I couldn't find 5 friends. And I got to the club and they're like, you're not going to go on until your 5 friends show up. Oh. And then I waited for the person to leave and I saw where they were marking people. And I just marked people beside my name.
This is amazing.
Wild.
Wow.
And then I went up on stage. And how did I do? Not great.
Well,
you didn't have the 5 friends just laughing.
But it's like all this gatekeep. Like it was so impossible. Yeah. I couldn't play by the rules.
how long did it take you before you officially became official?
That paperwork for that first work visa probably took about 3 months.
Okay.
And then I had some status, but it was temporary. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I had to go figure out a different way. Yeah. And then after that, I had to figure out a different way. And then after that, I got married.
Yeah.
You should have just gotten married quicker.
I know,
that would have really expedited.
There was a few people that I was like, you want to get married? And they were like, ha, ha, ha. And I was like, no, really. And they were like, whoa. I thought we were just like having sex. I was like, oh, I'm just saying.
No, I'm in love with you. I mean, but
lying was...
It's dope. It got you where you needed to be, but I always get nervous and I'm always like, someone's going to catch me. I'm riddled with anxiety.
But it's just who you lie to. So I think in some way, as I tell this, I'm not trying to be, I'm no hero, but you go like,
it feels like a hero.
Bank. Yeah. So you go lying to a bank, like the idea of it feels great.
Yeah.
Right? A bank.
Yeah.
Good.
Got him.
Right? But then you just, what's on the same level as that? I think that's what my brother-in-law was trying to say. He's like, so what if you were lying to the government? What if you're lying to a judge? Like where do you see these? Like, am I lying to a business? Like if you lied to a store, that's like just, let's say a old brick and mortar independent business. If you go in there and you're like, whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't have my receipt, but I bought this yesterday. Or something like that.
Yeah, I think it really depends. If you're going to like Dwayne Reed, I say take it all. I say take it all. They're doing fine. Obviously, a mom and pop shop, different.
Yeah.
But do you feel like, kind of after this experience, do you feel like gaming the system just a little bit like helped you have this like a bit of unbridled confidence? It's like, I can do anything. Because I feel like to succeed in comedy, you kind of have to be a little like extremely determined and also a little delusional. Like you have to be like, I think
so right.
You're like, I think is gonna work out. And so is there like any chance that
how you feeling now?
that like circumstance then was like I could like it like was a boost of confidence that helped you then like take that with you into comedy, and maybe is the only reason you're successful today.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that whole story. You're spin doctor. Like you have made it into the hero's journey.
Yeah, we did the hero's journey.
I mean, there is something about just when you have to make it happen, what you do, right? Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what to do, and I really felt like I had no safety net. There was no call to home to be made.
Yeah,
I would just have to leave.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I didn't have anyone, like the rent had to be paid.
Yeah.
And it was just a check, but it just seemed insurmountable. Yeah. So I actually, looking back, I cannot believe that woman gave me a bank account. I mean, one university, I wasn't even trying at that point. I had given up.
On her, as
bold.
ultimately.
Is it okay to lie? Doesn't matter who you lie to. I guess is the thing, right?
Yeah.
Blair, what are you feeling?
Well, as just a boy who was raised in faith,
Right.
Okay.
yeah, in preacher, you know,
Oh, that's true.
if you're lying about this, what's next? You know, like, could this get even bigger? But on the other hand, I really enjoyed your spin on it.
That was so good.
And I think to my own journey, had I started lying better,
I really think that maybe like we messed up.
I feel like I'd
we
be in a
should've-
much better place right now.
I know.
So
So this is really teaching us some hard
it
lessons.
is true that I think people's need for the truth is quite low.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
you know,
I agree.
well, I think we're pretty much in agreement.
All right.
wait a second. That as someone from faith, you think it's okay?
Well, you know, let's be honest. The church is a little wonky. And like, you know, I had to pretend to be into girls for quite a bit of time
Right.
just to like go through the door. I feel like we can say it together.
All right.
Good behavior.
Oh, yeah. It's because it was a bank, right? It's 'cause
Yeah,
it was
the
a
bank. It was
It's
the
the bank. It's
Yeah.
the bank.
Yeah. So
Get 'em.
is the takeaway for all of your listeners like, if you can lie to a bank,
Yeah. Maybe
It's fine.
do yourself a favor.
start by going to an improv class. Get comfortable
Yeah.
with these scenarios because you
Yeah.
can really work out your lies.
Yeah.
So we do have a
We
prize.
did a prize. So
I see this vase. There's been a vase here the whole time with
Yeah.
little strips of paper. I've
Yeah.
been so
We
eyeing the
have-
vase.
Fun
we have a
fact,
vase.
this used to be an edible arrangement.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember once someone sent that to me and I couldn't get. There was something really sad about watching pineapple rot on a skewer.
Yeah. That is a tough gift to be receiving. Our gift's not like that at all. Not like that at all.
It's better.
So we believe one of the best gifts someone can be given in life is a gorgeous compliment from your therapist. And so we have written compliments that we would love to have been said to us by our therapist that we will be giving to you kind of as a therapist that you can then take on in life.
I love this.
All right, Blair, do you wanna read a loud one?
Okay, here we go.
I'm so excited. Truly.
Oh, I don't mind going over time. I love chatting with you. How does that feel? Let
Yeah,
it wash
how
over
does
you.
that
Okay, I'll tell you right now how exactly that feels. First of all, that is a lie. And B, I am someone, I go to therapy, but I don't love therapy. So I am always like, when is this over? If they were like, well, let's go overtime, I'd be like, no, let's go under time.
Let's go under.
I'm paying for this. Let's make it 20 minutes.
That's incredible. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, this was a pleasure.
Where can everyone find you?
Oh, you can find me on the socials at Ophira E. You can see my live dates at ophiraeisenberg.com. And most importantly, you can find me at Ophira on Venmo.
Perfect.
Love it.
I only want to socialize through Venmo.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I
Is
like
there a
that.
minimum requirement you would like people to send you?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's a $5.
Okay,
$5.
at least $5.
Easy.
Don't send her anything under $5.
That's right. I still want a fee-free account. This is my new fee-free account.
And also your podcast.
Yes, please check out my podcast. Even if you're not a parent, it's a good hang with a bunch of great comics and celebrities talking about their careers. It's called Parenting is a Joke. Get it, as they say. My favorite line, wherever you get podcasts.
And when do episodes come out?
New episodes come out every Tuesday.
Love it.
Perfect. Well, check it out. Well, thank you so much
Thank you.
again.
Pleasure. Thank you, Blair. Thank you, Sterling.
And that's our show. Thanks so much for listening today.
We absolutely hate to do this. We hate it.
But it would mean the world to us if you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you get podcasts, rate and review.
Follow us at Bad Behavior NYC on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks again for listening.
And remember, whatever your moral status, we are always here to judge. Bye. Do you think that was good?